Once upon a time, in a land far away, by the edge of the sea, there lived a lighthouse. It was a solitary lighthouse, far out at the end of a rocky peninsula. Empty, cavernous, and quiet. Now, the quiet might have been peaceful if it weren't for the overwhelming loneliness. No one, absolutely no one, ever ventured out to the end of that rocky peninsula. No boats, absolutely none at all, ever ventured into the treacherous waters around the end of that rocky peninsula. The mermaid lived alone as well. But her loneliness was tempered by the distraction of television. Her tastes tended to old Disney cartoons, which she watched endlessly. She thought of the characters as real and pictured herself among them. The lighthouse was not surprised to be so utterly alone. After all, did not the lights shining from their head warn everyone to stay away? Perhaps they were too good at their job. Perhaps they should fall down on the job from time to time, they mused, and beckon someone in. But alas, much as the lighthouse wanted to be welcoming, they found themselves trapped in the life role they had been assigned at birth. They only knew one way to behave, and they suffered for it terribly, with loneliness, depression, and a dark, increasingly darkening view of life, hidden behind their bright and seemingly cheerful, endlessly brilliant lights. The mermaid dove slowly to the bottom of the sea with Disney princesses on the mind. She pictured herself as a Disney princess and shuddered. She wondered how anyone could aspire to Disney princesshood. Insipid was not a word in her vocabulary, but it came tripping to her tongue anyway. She knew then and there that prince was the lowliest existence to which she could aspire. So they decided that they would be a prince, and they set out forthwith to find a suitable castle. The lighthouse stood alone, deeply depressed, a depression so profound that giant lighthouse tears welled up in their lighthouse eyes, and the tears began to fall and fall and fall and fall and fall and fall, and like the tears of Lewis Carroll's giant-sized Alice trapped in the underground hallway, soon the tears became a flood. And still the salty water rose, mingling with the sea, until it covered all the rocks at the end of the peninsula upon which the lonely lighthouse stood. And still the salty water rose until it filled the bottom floor of the weeping lighthouse. Never before had any lighthouse anywhere wept so prodigiously. And the mermaid swam and swam and swam and swam and swam and swam in search of a castle or a palace palace or even just a mere tower, until they felt that the waters of the sea had suddenly become warm and welcoming. Salty still, but less salty than usual. For they found themselves in a sea of tears, sweeping them along and into the welcoming open door of the lonely lighthouse. And they felt themselves in a warm embrace. And they had found their palace, their castle, their tower, ablaze with light and joy and love. And still the lighthouse wept. But now there were tears of love and joy, endlessly pouring from their eyes, endlessly renewing the water that allowed the mermaid to dwell in the heart of the lighthouse. Who would have thought these two lonely, seeming misfits would ever find each other and love?